Just 2 home matches left. Don't miss this one. Phoenix Rising hosts regional rival New Mexico United on Saturday, October 4th at 7 p.m. for Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Grab exclusive Rising gear from a limited edition trading top and merch line with a portion of proceeds supporting breast cancer research and treatment. It's a match with heart and high stakes. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Rivalry, purpose, pride. Be there.
I'm Bree.
I'm Sean.
And we are the Berkless family. We are repeat Fulton customers, and we've lived in the Fulton community for 6 years. We've been looking for a home, and so we walked into the Fulton community, and we were just absolutely blown away. When we walked into the model home, we noticed the high ceilings, the beautiful kitchen, the flooring, and the floor plan. We knew it was a place where we were going to raise our family.
And on top of that, we have a swimming pool and good location here.
When you say the word community, you have to be able to see it and feel it. And so when you have your neighbors, you feel that community because you become friends, and it even feels like family, like a family community. And that is something that is priceless and can last a lifetime. We absolutely would recommend a Fulton home to our friends and family.
Fulton Homes. You're proud to own, we're proud to build. The year-end savings have arrived with Scottsdale Mitsubishi. Right now, you can receive a 0% APR for 60 full months on all new 2025 Mitsubishi models. You heard right.
0% APR for 60 months on the 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander, Outlander Sport, Outlander PHEV, and Eclipse Cross. Think how much you'll save when you pay no interest. Come see us at the Scottsdale Auto Show at the 101 in Indian School.
The name to remember, Scottsdale Mitsubishi, Scottsdale Mitsubishi. Go to ScottsdaleMitsubishi.com for full details on approved credit. Another Mark Auto Group dealership.
When is Kate getting here?
Should be any minute. She was on one of her Goodwill treasure hunts.
Treasure hunt? Oh, here she comes. And in an amazing new jacket.
Ready to rock, guys?
You definitely are.
Where'd you get that?
Don't you love it? I got it at Goodwill.
Kate got it at Goodwill. With hundreds of thousands of unique items arriving in store daily, you can get it at Goodwill too. Find your convenient neighborhood location at goodwillaz.org. Nonprofit for good.
Scottsdale's so nice, we're doing it twice. October 15 through 18 at Westworld. The Fall Auction, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Hundreds of collector cars in the all-new indoor Barrett-Jackson Fan Zone. Food, drinks, and live entertainment. Get tickets now at barrett-jackson.com.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Even with the Cardinals playing last Thursday, plenty for us to dive into to kick off the week. Welcome in Monday edition of the lunch break right here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours. Producer Evan, winless over the weekend in his picks, ready to take your phone calls on the other side of the glass, 480-864-1060. You can hang out with us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel as well. We start today's program, though. We were going to recap the end of the Diamondback season, but it was some Diamondbacks news right before we got on the air here. That is today's Daily Special.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
I hope there are some of you out there that are sitting down while you're listening to this, because if you haven't heard the news and I'm the one that's delivering it to you, it may shock you a little bit, or it may not. Torey Lovullo will return as manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2026. Both Nick Pecoro, who covers the Diamondbacks for AZ Central, Steve Gilbert, who covers the Diamondbacks for MLB.com, both of those reporters were reporting it just about 20 minutes or so ago that Torey Lovullo will return for a 10th season as the manager for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And so there is no uncertainty. There is no will they, won't they. And I will say this here off the top before we discuss whether or not it is the right move for the team. I appreciate the rapidness in which they have definitively made a decision, because I think the worst thing they could have done here was let this linger. This isn't even the first piece of NL West managerial news today, because before that, Bob Melvin was relieved of his duties out in San Francisco for the Giants earlier this morning. The quickness in which the Diamondbacks decided to take care of this, definitively saying he is coming back, or at least through reporting he is coming back next season, allows us to just pass the will they, won't they, and it dragging on, and us trying to read between the lines of comments from Mike Hazen or Torey Lovello, or the longer it draws on, ooh, does that mean he's coming back, or does that mean that they're still deciding? Instead of having that be a cloud that hovers over what is a very important offseason for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that's kind of where I wanted to dive in to start this week, to start today's program. They got this out of the way. Now, you may not like it. Let's put that to the side for just a second. I appreciate the quickness in which this decision was made, because now the focus can be on all of the other big tasks that this organization has this offseason, because they have a lot of work that needs to be done. They have to decide on a direction. They have to decide, after missing the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons in painstaking fashion, right there at the end, back-to-back years, what is the right path to get them back to being a playoff team like they were in 2023? What is the path to get sustainable postseason appearances, to see those results? Because the further we move away from 2023, the easier it is to look at that season as a fluke. Returning to the postseason each of the last 2 years would have quieted that noise, but instead kind of reaffirmed that noise of it being a fluke. So what do they have to do? Is it a hard reset? Is it a soft rebuild or retool? What is the direction? What can they do? What can't they do? These are all the questions that this organization, Mike Hazen and company, have to answer. They have injuries that they have to deal with at the beginning of the year. They have players that are going to leave in free agency, holes on their roster that they need to fill. The last thing they needed was a managerial search or decision hovering over all of that important work. Now let's dive deep into whether or not it was the right decision. And I don't think I need to open the phones today. I don't think I need to give out the phone number and poll the audience. Although we can, we'd love to hear from you today, 480-864-1060. But I know what the sentiment is. I know what you're feeling today. I know that you don't like this move. I know that you were ready for change after 9 years and just 2 postseason appearances. And I'll tell you, you kind of moved me in that direction over the course of the season, because I started the year being firmly in the Torey camp, and as the year went on, it was a roller coaster ride for me. I was in, I was out, I was back in again. Now I might have been back out again if you ask me here today. He's back, so I'm not really going to explore that thought in my mind. But producer Evan and I got into, I think, a spirited discussion pre-show about this, because for those of you out there today that are disappointed by this, I'm sure there's many of you. For those of you out there who think this is a terrible move and it's going to lead to bad results for the Diamondbacks, my question to you is, what did you want to see? I know you wanted change. I got that. But who did you want to be in that dugout managing this team? Because I hate to tell you this, the name might have changed on the nameplate outside the office. The face might have looked different in the dugout making the decisions. But if you watched modern baseball, Torey Lovello even mentioned it last week on Friday after we got out of here. He talked about how the modern manager is a different creature than it was a half decade ago, than it was a decade ago, than it was 20 years ago. A manager doesn't have the say, doesn't have the control, doesn't have the influence that he used to. So yes, the name outside the front of the office might have been different. The face moving out to the pitcher's mound to make a pitching change might have been a different person, but the decisions probably still would have been the same, because these decisions, what relievers match up with what spots in the lineup, what relievers you go to, who starts when, lineup decisions, when does Jordan Lawler play, when does he not play? Torey Lovello told you on Friday, he says he has a seat at the table. Doesn't have the final say, doesn't have carte blanche, has a seat at the table of those decisions, that it is a collaborative that makes those decisions. So it would just be somebody else in that seat. making probably the same decisions that the front office is dictating down to make about the way the lineup looks, about what relievers to use in what spots. And then the manager gets into the dugout with all that information in a binder in front of him and deploys that information based on the way the game is going. So I hear you. Plenty of reasons to make the case for a new manager, a new face in that dugout. I just don't think you would have gotten the change that you think firing Torey Lovello would have brought you. And that's the message that I want to share with you today. This is a front. If you think there's a problem, then you have a problem with the front office. Then you have a problem with the modern sport of baseball. Because that's the way it doesn't just work in Arizona. That's the way it works in LA. That's the way it works in San Diego. That's the way it works in Boston. That's the way it works in New York. Pick any team across baseball. That's how it's done in 2025. And so, do I think it's an uninspiring decision to bring back Torey Lovello? I do. I don't think it's going to win over an optics war here. But do I think things would have changed if they made a managerial change? I'm just not sold on the idea that things inherently would have been different. Because I think your problem doesn't reside with Torey Lovello. It resides with the philosophical approach to baseball in 2025. And you're not winning that battle. That battle has long been lost to the front office.
I'm a huge nerd.
That have transformed the game of baseball over the last 15 years.
It's not even necessarily, and I said this in the morning meeting to you when we talked about it, for me it's not even necessarily a philosophy. It's now we're years and years into Torey Lovello, and they went to the World Series once, sure. Congratulations. You lost in 5 games. You looked uninspired in the World Series. And now we're at a point where it feels like losing has become acceptable in the locker room, and it feels like there's a culture issue. And I know they got through this Ketel Marte thing and made a late playoff push, but they didn't get through this Ketel Marte thing because the manager came out and set the world on fire and ended it. No, they did that because Geraldo Perdomo did that. And there's more than a handful of games this year that we could circle on the meltdown meter or on how the lineup was constructed that we can say, you know, that one might fall on the manager, or the manager has a large piece of that. And then on top of all of that, the one thing we said was most important at the end of the year was developing your young talent and knowing what you had. And guess what, Chris? I don't know what Jordan Lawler is. I still don't. You had a full month to play him. He really wasn't in the lineup every day. And it's a massive problem that we're still sitting here today and we don't know fully what he is. There is a list of issues here that are no longer acceptable. And yes, a new manager may come in and manage the team the exact same way because of philosophy and everything. But is it more about philosophy than it is about culture?
I hear you. You bring up some excellent points about the bullpen management, the way the lineup is constructed, and we're not going to do this, but if we were going to assign the blame pie to who's at fault for those decisions, I don't know how much to put on the manager and how much to put on the front office. And I'm just saying that honestly. Like when a lineup gets put together, our default reaction, because we've been watching baseball our entire lives, is to blame the manager. And I've certainly done it. I've gotten on Torey for not playing Jordan Lawler more. I've gotten on the organization for not playing Jordan Lawler more. But where does that come from? Is the lineup dictated down to Torey the way it is in other organizations across the sport, where the lineup is printed out of a computer and based on the numbers, based on all the models that they have, this is the lineup that we need to go with today, and Torey just submits it? I don't know what the inner workings is, or the inner workings are. We're going to be grammatically correct. It's kind of what we do here. But I do know that you can talk to a lot of people in baseball, and you can hear it from Torey about this being a collaborative effort, about this just not being a Torey makes decisions or the front office makes decisions, that everybody works together. So the blame, I think, has to be shared equally. And the point that I'm trying to make here is, if you change out the manager, how much actually changes? Unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that question. We're never going to know the answer to that question. But I've watched enough baseball recently in the modern era to know that probably not a lot's going to change, that most of this stuff is philosophical from the front office. The way the lineup is put together comes from the front office. The way you deploy your bullpen comes from the front office, and all of the models and analytics and data that they are looking at, pitch shapes and how they match up with certain guys. And that information is given to Torrey, and he is told to deploy it the way he sees fit. But if he deploys it incorrectly, the front office is going to be like, why didn't you follow our direction? So he's going to do what the front office sets forth from him. Is he totally blameless? No. The buck has to stop with somebody. But what I am trying to say here, and hopefully I'm saying it well enough so that people understand my position, changing Torrey Lovello may not change the things you have a problem with about the Arizona Diamondbacks. You may be happy that they would have moved on from Torrey. Again, they're not doing that. It's been being reported that he's coming back for next season. You may have been happy if they decided to move on, but I don't know if the things that you wanted to see change would have changed with a new manager. If you want a Bruce Bochy type that comes in here and does things his way and marches to the beat of his own drum, right? I'll go old school on everybody. A Billy Martin who just does whatever he wants. That's not happening. It's not. That's not the way Mike Cason's going to run his baseball operations department.
So let me take you back, however many months, to when the Suns hired. Was there much change in the front office?
I mean, they did get a new general manager in Brian Gregory.
From inside the room.
The alignment.
And they're aligned, obviously. But in all seriousness, what was the one big thing we talked about for them in casting a wide net and bringing people in for interviews? You can bring in these coaches, in the D-backs cases, managers, and they can have their own opinion on what's wrong with the Diamondback. Isn't that something you want? Don't you want voices or ideas to bounce off? And by moving on from Torrey, you get a different voice. And I'm not saying it'll change the philosophy totally, but maybe it tweaks it and improves it just a second.
Let's take a brief 30 seconds with what you just said there, because I think what you're saying is different from what a lot of the listeners are saying. If your case for changing Torrey out for a new manager is that it's 9 years, it's stale, 2 playoff appearances, you need a different voice delivering the message, I can get on board with that. That's not the complaint from everybody. The complaint is the management of the bullpen. The complaint is the lineup decisions. The complaint is sticking by the coaching staff. Guess what? I'm sorry, I don't think those issues change with a different manager. If you want a different voice dictating the message from the front office, dictating the data, right? Okay, I think that's a nuanced conversation that we can have. But the complaint is the bullpen mismanagement. The complaint is the way the lineup is constructed. I've got bad news for you. I don't think that changes if they have a manager. I don't.
And maybe it won't. But my biggest problem with the manager is actually that the message has grown stale coming from him.
No.
And that to me is a simple fact of you've made it twice in 9 years. You had all the talent in the world this year. I know you had injuries, but you had the opportunity to get this ship going in the right direction, and you couldn't do it. And before you did have the injuries, you couldn't get this plane off the ground. It's not like they started hot and the wheels came off. They couldn't get it off the ground.
Over on the KDUSA and 1060 YouTube live stream, Paul is over there now. I don't know if this is our email, Paul. We'll need to do some bigger research into this to see if this is our email, Paul. But Paul over there says, using your logic, Chris, then Torrey should keep his job until he no longer wants it. I don't think at any point I have said in this conversation here today that I agree with the decision that the Diamondbacks are making. I'm explaining the decision, and I'm explaining why the logic that some of you out there today have about wanting to make a change, I don't know if you will get what you want. That's all I'm trying to explain. Do I think it would be fair for the Diamondbacks to take a couple of days and decide whether or not Torrey should come back? I do think that would have been reasonable. I'm glad that they decided definitively one way or another right away because they can move on with their offseason. But if they took this week and didn't decide on the future of Torrey, would that have been the worst thing in the world? No, I don't think so. And do I think if they made the decision to move on from Torrey, it would have been the worst thing in the world? No. I think a fresh voice would have mattered. But I look at this and I say, I don't know if what people wanted out of this, they would have gotten.
Yeah. I don't know, in all seriousness, I don't know if you would be in a situation where if they hired anybody, people would be happy. Like, I really feel that just the moving on part of it, people would have been happy because Torey Lovello, and I don't want to exaggerate this, represents an era of Diamondbacks baseball. It's almost a decade now, where more or less they had some good years but underperformed. I mean, they spent more money than any team in the franchise's history. They didn't make the playoffs. Last year, they dumped more money into a team that had went to the World Series the previous year. Didn't make the playoffs. These last 2 years have been, whether injury or not, have been a failure.
Well, Torrey's coming back. He'll be here for the 2026 season. Last year on his deal, no reports of an extension. I think he's going to be a lame duck going into next season, just like he was entering the 2023 season, and we will see. But now the Diamondbacks can turn the page. They can move on and focus on the off-season work to put together a roster in 2026. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program when we come back. Hold now, but it was another week, another magic trick from the Sun Devils. That's next, the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
Something Mark Cuban said, but at this point, he's pretty much the last one claiming that Ballmer is innocent, aside from Ballmer and the Clippers. Cuban is not convincing anybody of anything. Neither are the Clippers, and neither is Adam Silver. They're all just making it worse. Just like when Ballmer made it worse when he ran to ESPN and put on his Mickey Mouse falsetto voice to claim, "Pick on me."
1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Judas Priest. And Alice Cooper. The Metal Gods, Judas Priest. The Godfather of Shock Rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
We are getting ready to crown a champion.
Championship weekend is coming back to the desert.
Let's get this party started.
4 title races in 3 days means there will be a buzz in the air all weekend long. Whether from the grandstands, the infield experience, or the hillside, this is your chance to witness history and make championship caliber memories for the whole family. NASCAR Championship Weekend at Phoenix Raceway, October 31st through November 2nd. Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com. Ticketmaster, the official ticketing partner of NASCAR.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's, but that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. I really hate to pile on Russell Wilson, but since people way more important and incredible than me are, why not, right? Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez and former teammate Richard Sherman busted out their shovels to throw even more dirt on Russ last night. Gonzalez says that Russ has been so bad in recent years, he may have actually played himself out of the Hall of Fame. Maybe, but that's presuming that he was a Hall of Famer in the first place. Something that Richard Sherman seems to dispute, reminding everybody that Russ was at his best when he had the Legion of Boom to back him up in Seattle, but is just merely a guy without the LOB. Look, that's not the first time Sherman's come for Russ, and it probably won't be the last. especially if Russ continues to try to play. Your legacy, Russ. If you want to continue to tarnish it, that's your prerogative. But if I were you, I would just stay down this time, because every time you try to get up, you get kicked right in the head. I'm Jim Rome. Football season is heating up on Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the action this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code ROME and get $50 in bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code ROME on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Warning, the national debt is spiraling out of control. Trade wars are causing record volatility, and inflation could make a devastating comeback. Will you sit on the sidelines and wait, or will you take action today to help protect your hard-earned retirement savings? And what if you could do it tax and penalty-free? Find out more by requesting your free 2025 gold and silver kit from the top-rated precious metals company, Goldco. Plus, you could get an unlimited instant match on bonus silver if you qualify. Call 855-969-GOLD to learn more. That's 855-969-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Beerstein.
The most shocking play of the week, and there was ton. From the blocked kicks and the punt returns, but still the reality that Patrick Mahomes made the best defensive play of the weekend on a backwards pass he threw, that he then went and stole the ball from a defender. The Chiefs might have lost that game. Who knows how the momentum changes if Patrick Mahomes was to get that ball back and the Giants get that on the 5-yard line and score a touchdown.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
It was a rainy Friday night. They got off to another slow start, but ASU is 2-0 in the Big 12, 4-1 on the season, back ranked inside the AP top 25. They did do their best to stress us out along the way because it was another early deficit. It was another comeback late, including some fourth quarter drama, including what I could only describe as potentially the greatest defensive play I've ever seen a player make. I mean, it's not even it's not a strip sack. It's not a he stole the ball.
He stole the ball.
I mean, that's to me, it's the only way to describe what happened, because he just took the ball for himself and said, "This belongs to me now."
It was just like one man ripping something away from another man.
It was one man saying,
"That's mine.
This game belongs to me now." And you just loved every second of it. Prince Dorba, if you haven't seen it, were you living under a rock this weekend? I mean, it's one of the most incredible defensive plays I think I've ever seen.
Watching that. So I'm up in the booth, right? So you're like, is the ball out?
Right.
Because you see people react.
So you have the all 22 view of it from the booth.
So then I get we have like the feed on the TV on the left side. Now I'm watching it. I'm like, oh my gosh, he ripped that away from him.
The ball never hit the ground. He just decided, this is the play where I'm going to show that I'm better than everybody else. And he was, because he just took the ball. And in essence, isn't that play just representative of Sun Devil football? We took the ball. We're taking the game. Thanks for showing up.
It really, because the way they currently play, they can't not give you a heart attack.
Oh, no.
Right? They can't. They win again. They win the turnover battle by 2-0. They are efficient enough to not turn the ball over, but they do the little things poorly at times and keep teams in the game or fall down 17-0. It's incredible.
It's not sustainable. They cannot continue to play this way. No. And here's why. Not because I don't trust them to do it every week. I do. They have a battle-tested feel to them dating back to last year. And it's kind of the reason why the Mississippi State game going the way that it did is so frustrating, because you kind of expected them to pull the rabbit out of the hat. You just expected them to win the game, even though they played poorly for 2.5, 3 quarters.
But as the season wears on, you wear down doing that every single week. You've got to play faster. You've got to get out to an early lead. I mean, you dominated them. Look up and down the stats, the box score from that game. You thoroughly dominated them in every statistic that you needed to. You can run the ball over 200 yards on the ground. You outgained them just incredibly. Sam Levitt had a nice day passing. You do all these things. You're 78th in the country in red zone scoring. That's the problem. You want to circle one thing? You got to start converting 3 into 6, 3 into 7. You have to start converting those opportunities into touchdowns, because if you do, it allows you to start fast. It allows you to build early leads. It allows you to then lean on that running game and control the game. Could you imagine, Evan, if this team against a good team got up a 14-0 lead with the run game? I'd be amazing. I'd love to see it.
Chris, let me read you these. So first downs, one team had 15, the other had 25. Total yards, one team had 269. The other team had 498. Rushing yards, one team had 10. The other had 207. They outrushed them by 198 yards. It was a 3-point game.
I would love one time, maybe it's the matchup against Utah coming up in 2 weeks, for this team to get out to an early lead and lean on their defense and lean on their running game and control the time of possession and be able to play with a lead. Because their biggest wins this season, each of the last 2 weeks, they've had to come from behind. Same scoreline, too, 27-24 both weeks. Now, you'll take it. A win is a win is a win. You're 2-0 in the Big 12. You're back being ranked. Everything's back on the table for this team. I think there's a belief that is emanating from this team once again. But, boy, I can't do the stress every week. I can't do it. I can't. Because I'm watching, and I'm texting you. I'm texting you during the game, and I'm like, how are they even in this game right now?
You said it, but like it just doesn't feel sustainable.
No, it's
nobody
not.
can win like this consistently. You can win,
yeah,
but nobody can win consistently like this. I mean, it's insane what they are able to do, and this feels like a few weeks in a row. Like even the Mississippi State game, even that game. They are one play defensively from winning that football game. And they were down 17-0 and didn't move the ball in the first half.
I texted you at one point in all caps because they went for it on 4th and 1. And they lined up in the Wildcat.
That was the worst play call in 2 years of Marcus Arroyo calling the plays.
In all caps, I said, I hate that play call. And you responded immediately from the booth. The Wildcat was horrible. Wild that they are still in this game because you felt it. You watched them give up an opportunity. You're like, they're still kind of hanging around here. And then I responded and I said, just once, could they start off the game playing well against one of these good opponents? Now, you'll take it. As Kenny was asked in the post-game press conference, how much he's aging from these games, and it's certainly a lot. He certainly doesn't want to play this way. But you know what? Good/great teams find a way even when they're not playing their best. And that's the one positive I would take away from the last 2 weeks. They have not played their best, and they got 2 big Big 12 wins. Can't take that away from them. More on ASU as the show moves on. We've got the NFL Rewind here for you coming up on the other side. We'll recap all of the action from yesterday in the NFL. We'll do it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Breaking Benjamin. And 3 Days Grace. Live. October 8th at Desert Diamond Arena with special guest Return to Dust. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Don't miss Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, presented by the Big Red Radio.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
You got the paint job, but now you need the materials fast. Get free same-day or next-day delivery on select PPG paints from the Home Depot. Now that's a pro move. Save time on store runs and get free delivery on small or large orders of select items. Save energy shopping around with PPG's wide assortment of colors and finishes all in one place. And save money with Pro Extra, where you can get up to 20% off paints, primers, and stains through Paint Rewards. The Home Depot, how pros get more done.
Meet Barkley. When Barkley smells gas, he leaves fast. When Barkley hears hissing coming from a gas appliance, he leaves fast. When Barkley sees dirt or water shooting from the ground, he leaves fast. Barkley then calls 911 and Southwest Gas from a safe location.
Did that dog just grab a phone and dial 911?
Gas lines can be buried anywhere, so remember to call 911 and Southwest Gas.
Hi, I'm Andrew the Homebuyer. Selling your house right now the traditional way isn't so easy. The average home is taking months to sell. Fortunately, I can help. I'll come to your home and give you a cash offer within minutes. Then we can close in under 5 days. And I'll make sure you get as much money for your house as possible. Call me, Andrew the Homebuyer, today, and let's get your home sold. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com. That's andrewthehomebuyer.com.
At Winco, we're working to save you money. Big savings on top quality meat, produce, seafood, and deli. Bakery fresh breads, cakes, and cookies made daily in store. Low prices on top quality national brands and thousands of our own private label. In every aisle, every department, every day.
9 stores in the Phoenix area, including the new Santan Valley location.
James Out West, your desert destination for sports here in the Valley.
You've seen Shador. We've all seen him. He's, kind of everybody gravitates toward him.
He's got aura.
There we go. Thank you, as the young kids say. He's just there doing his job. He shows up early. He stays late. He's not posting it on social media to post it on social media to say, look at me. What you see is when he shows up to a neighborhood in which just got burned down, the apartment complex, and he sets up food trucks. I can't wait to see what happens for him, and I think that they have a good foundation for the future.
It's James Out West, every other Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
If the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live chat is any indication, they'd like to hear more on Torey Lovello returning as manager for the Diamondbacks in 2026. My guess is we'll get to that a little bit here in Buy or Sell coming up on the other side of the NFL Rewind. That means we hand it off to the NFL Rewind's tour guide to take us around the NFL in week 4. Producer Evan, the stage belongs to you.
You woke up early, you had a Guinness,
No, did not.
and you sat down and watched Steelers Vikings, a vintage Carson Wentz versus Aaron Rodgers duel overseas. Rodgers edges him out 24-21 Steelers. Wentz and the Vikings couldn't get it done on the last drive.
Remember what we said going into this game? Another good Carson Wentz performance, and you probably have a quarterback controversy on your hands. I think we're okay. I think JJ will be back.
I just love, by the way, like as a guy who's watched a lot of Wentz football in his life, it was Carson Wentz.
It was quintessential Carson Wentz.
It was the most textbook Carson Wentz game I have ever seen, and I loved every second of it. And they get the ball back, and I'm pulling for the Vikings.
Speaking of that, what a complete mismanagement by Mike Tomlin and the Steelers to not go for it on that 4th down. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Why are you giving the ball back?
What? Yeah.
Just go for it. You have to gain a yard. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It is the most. I mean, that game was very on brand for everybody, if you want to say that. Like for Mike Tomlin, that feels like a Mike Tomlin move. You have to eventually adjust to the way the game is played now and know the situation.
If that's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson under center, does he go for it? Does it have a lot to do with basically the QB sneak not being in your playbook because you have a 42-year-old quarterback made of glass?
It might.
I'm not defending it. I'm just wondering aloud.
It might.
If it takes away a lot of your options, if you can't run the QB sneak or the tush push because you have a 42-year-old quarterback.
Yes, but if I have a 42-year-old quarterback who's won league MVPs on a 4th and 1, then spread me out. Let me get a quick completion. I trust my guy.
I hear you. I think
so
it was a
maybe
mistake,
it's a different way to do it.
Sure.
But yeah, I think probably the not QB sneaking it does have to do with his age and knowing who your quarterback is.
All right, we are way behind schedule. We got to fly through the rest of this.
All right, moving on. The next window, the 10 a.m. window.
The next window. It was a 6:30 game.
Commanders headed to Atlanta where they fell short 34-27. Falcons, who moved to 2-2.
Isn't this the most Atlanta performance of all time? We're ready to write you off. We're ready to say that you're done. And then you win this game. Now I don't know what to do with you.
Penix, 20 of 26
come
for
on.
313 and 2.
You couldn't give me that last
like
week against
they
the
lost
Panthers?
30-0
Right.
against the Panthers last
You
week.
beat the Commanders who were in the NFC title game a year ago. Like, what are we doing here?
Bills take care of business at home against the Saints.
Take care of business?
Well, they won the game.
I know, but they played with their food a little bit here. I think they took New Orleans a little lightly. They thought they could coast through this, and it was 14-10 going into the third
Certainly,
quarter.
my favorite stat line of the week, Chris Olave, 0 receptions, 0 yards, and an interception.
Yeah, they tried to run the Philly special, and he just
read it like a book.
Well, I mean, he lofted the thing in the air. It was like trying to field a punt. I mean, that thing was just up there forever.
Okay, let me try this again. Lions take care of business
Okay.
at home against the Browns.
Yes.
A 34-10 win. They moved to 3-1.
That's more like it. Like the Lions, that's more like what it's supposed to look like. And this is the worry about that Browns defense. Can they do that every single week? I just don't know. I don't think they're capable of it. And they need more from their offense. And I wonder if a quarterback change is imminent there in Cleveland.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
Just destroy the Panthers 42-13.
I cede my time.
Drake May, 14 of 17 for 203 and 2 touchdowns.
I cede my time to the person who picked the Panthers as his, I believe, 3-point play this week.
No, they were my 1 point
Okay,
play.
1 point play.
So,
Your Panthers. Are your Panthers going to join your
1 and
Raiders
3
here in a second?
Listen, I didn't see, I'll be honest with you. Red Zone never went to this one. I didn't see more than 4 plays of this game. And probably rightfully so. All the way, Patriots were in control, 42-13. Patriots are 2-2. I'm very confused on who they are. I really am.
The Patriots?
Yeah.
They're a team in transition with a new coach who's trying to find his footing and find his
And I think they're
identity.
going to beat bad teams and lose to good teams.
I think that's exactly the way this season will go for them.
Chargers head to New York, and they go out there and Charger. The San Diego Superchargers do it again. They lose to the Giants 21-18.
This is a tough one for the Giants because there's so much good out of the way their offense looked with Jackson Dart and just how more creative it looked, the dynamic that he brings being able to run the football, and you win the football game, right? Everyone was just looking for Jackson Dart to look good. They kind of expected you to lose. And you win the football game, and Dart's exciting, and he's firing up the crowd on the touchdown run, and that's all good, and we should be excited about what the future. Malik Neighbors tears his ACL, and now you're wondering what this offense looks like without Neighbors.
And I'll be completely honest, they have to get rid of that turf. We've now seen too many players get hurt on that turf. And here's the one weird thing. They have to, because they're going to host
the World Cup.
And they refuse to play on turf.
Yeah,
you have to play on grass.
Yeah, they're putting grass in there for the World Cup, I believe.
Eagles hold on in Tampa, move to 4-0, a 31-25 win over the Buccaneers.
A tale of two halves, certainly. Eagles dominated early in this game, had the special teams, the blocked punt that led to a touchdown. And then the second half, you saw the Bucs crawl back into this, and you're thinking to yourself, here we go again. The Bucs are going to do it again, and they're going to do it this time against the best team in the NFC, the defending Super Bowl champions. Eagles hold them off, and they remain undefeated here in the early part of the season.
The Texans win at home 26-0 over the Titans. And you start to ask yourself,
No.
are the Titans the worst team in football?
No, you don't need to ask yourself the question. This is the worst team in football with, honestly, one of the worst coaches I have ever seen coach the sport of football.
It's him, Freddie Kitchens, right?
No,
that's the conversation.
I would take
right?
Freddie Kitchens. I would take Joe Judge over what I'm getting from Brian Callahan right now. I mean, nothing. He's given up play calling. So what is he doing for Cam Ward in the offense? You are now ruining Cam Ward's development. Normally, you don't campaign after you take a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick, changing out the coaches. You need to do this to save Cam Ward.
Yeah, and if you the earlier the better, right? Like, it's not hard to see this is going wrong. Just change it so you don't get a full year of him working in this offense, and then you have to rebuild him up. Like you saw the Bears have to do it with Caleb.
Brutal.
Really, really brutal.
Brutal.
The Colts.
You're so mad. You are so. This was your 3-point play, was it not?
It was. A.D. Mitchell throws it away for the Colts, and the Rams win this one 27-20.
You were irate with A.D. Mitchell in the morning meeting, and you said you said I was right. I got the pick right.
I mean, they had 2 70-yard touchdowns. One, he just celebrated and dropped the ball at the back of the end zone, so it's a touchback. The other one, he got a holding call on a Jonathan Taylor 70-yard run. He wasn't even involved in the play.
I can tell you're upset about going 0 for this week in the picks.
I should have got my 3-point play.
I'm an 0 for right now, but I still have 2 picks to go tonight. By the way, shout out to Josh. He won this week because he has 4 points, and the most I can get tonight is 3. Because I have a 1 and a 2-point play still available. So
Congratulations, team listener.
Team listener back on the board.
Back on the board.
2-2. Shout out to Josh.
Shout out to Billy.
Shout out to Billy. That's right. Shout out to Billy. Great picks by Billy.
Jags head to San Francisco and move to 3-1. 26-21 Jaguars.
This Jags defense is incredible. 4 takeaways. They had 3 takeaways each of the first 3 weeks of the season. 4 this week. You got Liam Cohen trying to fight Robert Saleh post-game. What is going on with Jacksonville? Duval, they're playing well.
I will tell you, too, they just may be a running football team. They run the ball really well.
As somebody who has Travis Etienne in fantasy, I would love for them to be a running football team. Would love it.
Ravens head to Kansas City and just get smoked.
Trouble.
37-20 Chiefs. Chiefs move to 2-2. Ravens fall to 1-3.
The Ravens are in trouble. Lamar's now got a hamstring injury. Does that compromise him? How does it compromise him? You're 1-3. It doesn't get any easier. I believe they have the Rams on their schedule here coming up. So it's bad. It's getting late early for the Baltimore Ravens. You start 2-4, 2-5. I don't know how you get up from that. And for the Chiefs, give them credit. Beat the Giants, now beat the Ravens, back to 500. See if they can build some momentum.
It's one of those things where you can no longer have the Ravens as a serious Super Bowl contender.
Why do you think they weren't even in HM last week? I said I was done with them.
You're right. You're right. The Bears moved to 2-2. Get a 25-24 late win over the Raiders.
Yeah, just be careful. Don't ask Ben Johnson questions coming out of the second half, going into the third quarter. He might get angry at you. Look, a solid win for the Bears. You're just looking for any type of momentum that can build for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. And Caleb, I thought, looked better. The best he's probably looked all season. Can they build off of that? And for the Raiders, I think it's getting ugly here in a hurry. This was the worry. You start off slow. I don't know if Pete Carroll can hold that thing together. I really don't.
It's interesting to see how that'll go down. There's 2 ways to look at it. Can he hold it together? Older head coach coming into a team that really wasn't ready to win now, or is the conversation, it's the guy who's been here before, it's the guy who's done it, he knows how to hold the locker room together. They'll bring this together. It'll be interesting to see which way it falls. In the game of the day on Sunday night.
Who doesn't love a tie?
A shootout.
Yeah.
40-40 tie as the Packers head to Dallas in the Micah Parsons return game where he was not a factor.
No, that's actually not true.
He tackled Dak Prescott. Congratulations.
It may have saved the Packers the game. That play might have saved the Packers the game.
In all seriousness, though, if anybody, yes, that is true. I am so tired of why are we continuing to talk about Micah Parsons? They've given up 40 points to the Cowboys.
Why are we continuing to talk about Micah Parsons should be because the Cowboys defense stinks out loud. I mean, they've given up 30 points every single week.
One of them was to the Giants.
Outside of what, the first week of the season?
Yeah, they gave up 24 after the Lightning delay.
Okay, that was on pace to get to 40. They're very bad. Like, very,
Really
very,
bad.
very bad.
They're really,
Stinks
really
out loud bad.
Yeah.
That, your week 4 NFL Rewind. When we come back, an abridged version of Buy or Sell to close up hour number 1 here of the show. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
On your ride home from work, join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Beerstein.
If we owned our own football team called the Angry Roosters and we kept signing people to contracts and they weren't honoring their contracts and kept demanding raises, at what point do we throw our hands up and just say no to everybody? We signed you to a contract. Play out your contract, and that's it. You earn a better contract on your next one, we'll pay you for that.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Stevie Nicks. One special night, October 7th, PHX Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Stevie Nicks live at PHX Arena.
Stay at the heart of it all with a special Cliff Castle room rate starting at just $99 with no resort fees. Less fees mean more ways to choose your next adventure at the gateway to the region's best gaming, entertainment, and natural wonders. And expect service from the heart as well. We think you'll love your stay with us and all the value we provide, starting at just $99 with no added fees. Cliff Castle Casino Hotel, at the heart of it all. Valid Sunday through Thursday. Some restrictions apply. An enterprise of the Yavapai Apache Nation. Connect directly, bid confidently. At Purple Wave Auction, transparency is key. With no reserves and no hidden surprises, you're connected directly to sellers so you can inspect and bid on quality equipment with confidence. Whether you're looking for ag, construction, or fleet equipment, we're here to ensure a clear, hassle-free experience. Register today at purplewave.com and start bidding with peace of mind. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Every day, reliable, comfortable, connected. Every day you rely on power. At APS, we work around the clock to deliver some of the most reliable power in the country. But with Arizona's extreme weather, outages can happen. Stay safe and informed with alerts by keeping your contact information up to date. And visit our outage center for updates online or on the APS app. For more ways to stay safe and informed, visit aps.com/brighter.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
All right, let's get right to it. Buy or sell to close up hour number 1 here at the lunch break. Thanks for hanging out with us. Chris Schubert with you. Despite no Cardinals over the weekend, still a lot of noise. Diamondbacks did not pull off the miracle. Sorry, I'm playing two things of music here. I had the buy or sell music over the NFL music. Not a radio professional in here today. Sorry.
Can I say something?
Please.
How about us, by the way? We both set the number at 84.
To make the postseason?
To make the postseason.
That's what it took.
That's what it took, right?
So, yeah, we had
Reds got in at 83 and 79.
Yeah, we had a pretty good feel for it.
Yeah. It's just credit. Tip your cap to us. All right, buy or sell. ASU can only lose one of its next 4 games if they want to make the conference championship.
And this is where you tell me their next 4 games.
This is where I tell you their next 4 games.
As the producer of the
so
program.
Bye week this week.
Right.
Obviously. Then they head to Utah.
They're going to win the bye week. Oh.
Sorry.
I was giving them a win in the bye
week. Yes. A win in the bye week. Get healthy, win in the bye week. Then you travel to Utah to take on Utah.
Okay.
Come home to play Texas Tech.
Okay.
Stay at home to play Houston.
Okay.
Travel to Iowa State to take on the 14th best team in the country.
So these are, I circle 3 really tough games.
Certainly.
The next 2 and then that Iowa State game. Don't take Houston for granted, but if I'm power ranking them, it's those other three. So now with that in mind, what was the take again?
You have to win at least 3 of them.
Absolutely. Bye. Yeah. And if you win at least 3 of those 4 and you drop 1, you're going to be in really nice.
You imagine you're in the driver's
Yeah.
seat, right? Just with some of the teams you've beaten already. If you lose to Texas Tech, let's say you beat Iowa State, then you have the tiebreaker over them as that second team in. Then your last few, you play a West Virginia team who hasn't been great, a Colorado team who hasn't been great, and U of A, who's been kind of a surprise this year, but certainly should be able to handle your business at home.
Yeah. So I would buy this that they need to win 3 of the next 4.
20 of 30 teams in Major League Baseball would have already moved on from Torey Lovullo.
How many?
20 of 30 or more.
Sell. I think
we can do the exercise. I think it's way more than you think.
No, I just think I think there is a disconnect over what we think a manager should do and what these teams think a manager should do. And if you apply that old methodology, I think, yes, you can find a bunch of teams that would have moved on from him. But I think Torey Lovullo, and I don't mean this as a negative, I think Torey Lovullo is exactly what a modern baseball front office wants their manager to be.
In my head, here are the teams that wouldn't have moved on from him yet. Obviously, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Pirates.
The Pirates just extended Don Kelly this morning.
That's what I'm saying. They wouldn't have moved on.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have fired him. The Miami Marlins.
Clayton McCullough did a really nice job.
He did. The A's wouldn't have fired him. The White Sox, maybe the Twins, the Rays. That's about it. I got 8 teams that wouldn't have moved on from him.
The Yankees wouldn't have moved on from him.
Yes, they would have.
No, they wouldn't have.
Yes, they would have.
No, they wouldn't have.
In 9 years where you've made the playoffs twice, they would have moved on.
So you're applying his resume in Arizona to another team. You can't do that.
Okay, fine.
If
he
was in If he was in New York managing the Yankees, they would have, I don't want to say the same amount of success that they've had under Aaron Boone, but pretty close. Pretty close. And that's the argument that I think we're having.
Yes. Okay. So it's 9 teams then. But at the end of the day, Yankees fans look at Aaron Boone.
They want Aaron Boone fired.
And yes, because
Dodgers fans want Dave Roberts fired.
Yes. And I understand it because they have a higher ceiling or a higher floor, however you want to say it. So when you have these disappointing years, and for the Dodgers, it's a loss in the playoffs, is a disappointing year. Whether you make the playoffs or not, that almost doesn't matter. I live with Dodgers fans who tell me, oh, yeah, the season starts in October, right? Because they have that much talent. And when you come up short, you continually don't hit the mark. Guess what? You can't continue to fail at your job and keep it. All right, you ready for this next one? It's kind of wild.
Just real quick. I think we have a different definition of failing than the Diamondbacks do. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, this year's a failure.
Yes, I think everyone involved would agree that this year was a failure. But when people say the manager failed, I don't know if the Diamondbacks would agree with that assessment.
Okay. And I hear you out. I don't know if I care who it fell on. He's the leader of the team, and in 2 years in a row where you failed, you should make a change. The Cardinals should try to trade for Chris Olave to get a wide receiver 2 and get him out of New Orleans. I told you this last one was wild.
I mean, you're just playing at my heartstrings.
So I saw this on Twitter this morning.
Wide receiver 2.
I saw this on Twitter this morning. It was him. It was the stat line that I read you in the previous segment. And it was just like, man, the Cardinals could use him. And I was like, that's a good point.
I mean, the Cardinals could use anybody.
Would you give up a third for Chris Olave? Would you give up a second?
Yes.
I think they would take a second in a heartbeat.
You have a season that is teetering here. We're going to talk about this in hour number 2, that change needs to come for this team because they're in a lot of trouble if they can't figure out their offensive issues. Hour number 1 of the program in the books. When we come back, let's dive more into this Torey Lovullo stuff. Because there's some comments on on the YouTube side of things that I want to get to. So that's how we'll open hour number 2 of the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Just 2 home matches left. Don't miss this one. Phoenix Rising hosts regional rival New Mexico United on Saturday, October 4th at 7 p.m. for Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Grab exclusive Rising gear from a limited edition trading top and merch line with a portion of proceeds supporting breast cancer research and treatment. It's a match with heart and high stakes. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Rivalry, purpose, pride. Be there.
Nitro Circus is back with the all-new Off the Rails Tour. World-class daredevils and FMX, BMX, skate scooter, and more. Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, and never-been-done showdowns. Friday, December 5th, Desert Diamond Arena. Visit Ticketmaster.com.
Want something fast and fresh for lunch? Try the Peter Piper Pizza all-you-can-eat weekday lunch buffet. Available from 11 to 2 every Monday through Friday, Peter Piper Pizza's lunch buffet is loaded with delicious pizza, fresh chopped salad, garlic cheese bread, and our famous cinnamon crunch dessert. Our dough is made from scratch every day and topped with real mozzarella cheese and the freshest ingredients. For the best all-you-can-eat pizza and salad lunch buffet in town, head to Peter Piper Pizza from 11 to 2 every Monday through Friday. At Peter Piper Pizza, the fun is baked in.
It's the grand opening of Fulton Homes' newest master plan community, Acclaim. This beautiful community features open spaces, multiple parks, and a large aquatic center. Visit FultonHomes.com. Fulton Homes. You're proud to own. We're proud to build.
We believe everyone deserves access to fresh food. That's why the Kroger Company created the Zero Hunger, Zero Waste program to share fresh food with the people in our communities. Our program and foundations have donated 3 billion meals since 2017. That's nearly 10 meals for every person in the U.S. Together, we can do more for our neighbors. Just round up your purchase at checkout. Fries, fresh for everyone.
If you could rewind 10 years, what would you do differently? Buy Apple stock at $20? Skip the ghost pepper challenge? Maybe even rethink the skinny jeans. Nate here, owner of Blue Sky Pest Control. Some regrets are harmless, termite damage isn't. You can't go back in time, but you can keep termites from eating your future. Call 602-BLUE-SKY today for your free termite inspection. Hello, Blue Sky. Goodbye, pests.
Right now at Scottsdale Mitsubishi, you can receive 0% APR for 60 full months on all new 2025 Mitsubishi models. You heard right. 0% APR for 60 months.
Think how much you'll save when you pay no interest.
The name, remember? Scottsdale Mitsubishi. Scottsdale Mitsubishi.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Two here at the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'll tell you, this wasn't originally in the plans to open up hour number 2 of the program, but a lot of you have chimed in over on the YouTube side of things about Torey Lovello returning as manager for the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2026, that it felt worthy to revisit here. And we love to hear from you on the program. This isn't just a conversation of me to myself or me and producer Evan. We love having you involved in the show. And so we love to hear from you. So 480-864-1060, or like I said, over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. And Paul over there said, if you want me to tell you who should replace Torey, then I need to be included in the interview process. You just said that the Titans head coach needs to be replaced with who? Let's take this one at a time. I wholeheartedly disagree with the premise that you need to be in the interview room to know who is going to, who should replace Torey. Because I don't want to put words in your mouth, Paul, but I'm assuming that what you are saying is that you'd like to be able to gather information. You'd like to be able to sit there and question these managers and put some situations in front of them, gain some more information about how they are going to do things, and you want to be informed when you make the decision, right? That's why you want to be a part of the process. Then how, without being on the inside, can you say that Torey should be fired? See, it doesn't work both ways, Paul. You can't say that you want more information and then from the outside say fire the guy without having all of the information of how it goes down. You don't know how the inner workings. Torrey told you on Friday. He was an open book. He said the modern day manager, and he didn't say anything that hasn't been said before. He didn't say anything that hasn't been felt across baseball. In this sport right now, a manager is just a messenger. A manager is just given information. He is given battle plans. He is given an order of operations like you were given in school for math. And he follows those order of operations throughout the game. Sure, does he get some wiggle room here or there to make a decision? But mostly he's going to go by the book. He's going to go by the numbers that the front office have put together for him. The analytics, the data that the front office has spent hours calculating, doing the advanced scouting, looking at what pitchers match up well with the hitters of the team that you're facing that day so you know what relievers to go to. That's the way it works. That's the way it goes down. So you don't want to suggest somebody else. You've been watching baseball, Paul, for a really long time, right? And Paul, I'm not picking on you, but this is where you have to be able to take a step back and look at this from all of the angles. You don't want to suggest who should replace Torey Lovullo because you're not in the interview process. Yet you are very quick to want to get rid of Torey without being part of the process of how this baseball team is run. Doesn't work both ways. You can suggest a name. Maybe you want Bob Melvin. Maybe Bob Melvin is a manager that you like. Maybe Buck Showalter is a manager that you like. You can throw names out there. You can throw out their names. You can say, this is the type of manager I want. You've been watching baseball, Paul, for probably a really long time. I've been watching it 31 years. I have a good feel of what I want my manager to be able to do. I have a pretty good feel of how I want my manager, even in today's game, to operate. And to compare Torey Lovullo to Brian Callahan in Tennessee is an insult to Torey Lovullo. You may not like Torey. You may think he's overstayed his welcome. You may think he's not a great manager. Brian Callahan is one of the worst head coaches I have ever seen coach football. He didn't know the rules of the game a couple of weeks ago. You can say a lot about Torey. He knows what's going on. He knows how the game is played. Brian Callahan doesn't have a clue in year two. He's not going to make it through year two at this rate. He's an offensive-minded coach who in year two has given up play calling duties for his young quarterback. Doesn't have an idea what's going on the sidelines. An insult to Torey to compare the two. So I get it. A lot of you are mad today. A lot of you are frustrated today. And Michael says, sounds like managers are just puppets for front office. Now you're getting there, everybody. See, it just took a little bit of an explanation, but now you're catching up to the modern game of baseball. Now you're figuring out how this works. This is not the old school Billy Martin, Jim Leland, Bobby Cox. Give me some other old school managers, producer Evan, Ozzie Guillen, Lou Piniella.
Charlie Manuel.
Right, I can name old school managers all day. That's not the way the game's played anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. And you may not like it. You may think it's bad for the game, but it's just not the way it is done. You have teams that are investing tens of millions of dollars every year into analytical departments that are running the numbers. This game of baseball, yes, it is still played by humans. Yes, they still go out there and play the games, but it is the most data-forward sport there is. They use data to guide everything. That data is compiled and put together by the front office. The plan is then put together and handed down to the manager, and it is the manager's job to step up there in front of the podium, explain it away to all of us, and execute on that plan. That's the way it is. And I'm sorry if I've burst your bubble today, but that's the way the game is played. That's the way things work. And so Torey Lovullo, you may have wanted him gone. The person that would have replaced Torey Lovullo would have done the same thing because Mike Hazen is still here. This front office is still here. And this is the way baseball works. This is the way things happen. Now, yes, are there things that a manager does throughout the course of the game? And I see Brian pointing them out on YouTube right now. The Perdomo extra innings sack bunt? Yes. Guess what? That's on Torey. That is a decision that Torey makes in-game. There is not an analytic stat in the world that tells you to bunt there in that spot with Geraldo Perdomo. So that's Torrey making a decision. You want to hold that type of decision against him? Be my guest. But the overall bullpen management, who's available, who's not available, that's done over lunchtime, guys. There's a meeting. Everybody gets together. The medical staff, a representative from the front office, if it's not Mike Hazen, the coaching staff, they get together, they put together a game plan. And that game plan has who's available, who's not available. What roles do we want everybody to fill tonight? What's the plan if our starter goes 5 innings? What's the plan if our starter goes 6 innings, 7 innings? Which guys do we want certain relievers to match up against? All of it is preordained beforehand. It all happens beforehand. Now, Brian asks a very pointed question of me. He says, I'm curious, Chris, what exactly would Torrey have to do for you to call for a change? Start next year like 5-30. Now, Evan, you can back me up on this because I've been this way off the air and I have been this way on the air. What is the one thing I have said over and over and over again that a modern manager has to be on top of?
The locker room.
The culture. The clubhouse. And when did my opinion on Torrey coming back next year change, everybody? When did I first start to hint at the idea that I might be okay with somebody else sitting in that dugout next season?
When you thought they lost the culture because of the Ketel Marte stuff.
It wasn't because of a bullpen decision, although I get frustrated at those. It wasn't because of a lineup decision, although we get frustrated at those. It was because if you have a leader now in that clubhouse who can't deliver the message from the front office, can't deliver the data, can't get these guys rowing the boat in the same direction, then you are a net negative. You are now impacting the team. That's when things changed for me. They got stuff back on the rails. They started to play better. They went on this run. They were in the mix until the final series of the year. Now, I'm not saying that Torrey Lovullo is a Hall of Fame worthy manager. I'm telling you to change your expectations of a manager in 2025.
Here is my biggest thing when discussing Torrey Lovullo. You just eventually need a change of voice. And I point to culture. I point to there are wins, even in baseball, that are culture wins. You fix it. You address the situations. And there was probably multiple situations where it did not get addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, whether it was fixed or not, the Ketel Marte stuff can't hit the media. It just can't. It cannot. And that is part of the manager's job. And so when you look at this team, they had almost zero good press this year. Zero.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
They had a situation where their star player, the guy they just signed to a 6-year extension, was drug out to the world and called a bad teammate.
And that's when
they won 80 games.
And that's when my opinion of things changed. But I think, and I'm not, again, I find myself backed into this corner of needing to be a Torrey Lovullo apologist when I think he's just a fine manager, everybody. I don't think he's the best manager. I don't think he's the worst manager. But
then it's time to move on, because here's the difference. You have the core in place. You have the core four. We talk about this. And eventually culture leads to wins. They don't win. And that's the problem. They don't win. And that means their culture isn't good enough.
If that's the argument that everybody wants to have today, that it's a culture issue, that it's the messages getting lost issue because they're not reaching their potential, I have long said I am on board with that argument. I am on board with that being a reason to move on. I'm just trying to tell everybody how the game is played, because It's All Code over there on YouTube said that after the Ketel Marte stuff hit the media, Ketel got a day off in Colorado, and he put that on Torrey. How many times do I have to say this? It's not all the manager. That decision isn't just Torrey Lovullo going rogue and giving Ketel Marte a day off. That is an organizational philosophy.
Okay, but I'm going to push back on you on this. It is the manager's job in that position, whether it's an organizational philosophy or not, to nip it in the bud and go up to the front office and say, hey, with everything going on right now, that is not the decision. We'll give him that in a week, But he needs to play today and this weekend because from an outside perspective looking in, it looks really bad if he sits today.
Fair.
The manager needed to step up in that moment, and he didn't.
Fair. And I hear you. And yes, maybe a different manager, maybe a more old school manager would have done that. But Torrey didn't do anything that Kevin Cash wouldn't have done in Tampa Bay, Aaron Boone wouldn't have done in New York. I mean, that's just the way the modern manager works because this front office,
The alignment.
is very aligned. This front office and this coaching staff is very aligned. They all speak the same language. They all agree on the way to do things, or else it wouldn't work. This current modern baseball philosophy of how these things work, of a front office and a manager really just being a messenger for what the front office wants to do. If you don't have alignment, then it doesn't work. And again, please do not hear me today and take this as a endorsement of Torey Lovello and the way that he manages. Do not take this as an endorsement of the decision that the Diamondbacks made today. I have just as many frustrations with the way the Diamondbacks do things as all of you do. I'm just saying I think your frustration may be just a little misguided. I think you may have more issues with a front office that puts together these plans and also with an ownership group and Ken Kendrick that doesn't seem to have a problem with it either. He can give me all the quotes in the world about how he's disappointed and frustrated. If he doesn't change things, then it is an endorsement of what is going on. And to be fair, if we're going to be fair and reasonable here on the program, and I believe in that, they lost Corbin Burns. They lost two of their major relievers. He was managing, and this team had one arm tied behind their back the majority of the season.
Certainly.
So you've got to take it all in its. Now, they didn't. If they gave him a 3-year contract extension today, I'd be right there with you, everybody. I'd be right there with you. They didn't do that. They just said he's got one more year left on his contract. We're going to see that through. That the reporting is he's returning for 2026. It didn't say he's returning in 2026 with a new 3-year contract. Then you'd have every right to be frustrated. That is an endorsement of what's going on. To me, not getting the contract extension is a way of Ken Kendrick saying this better change in a hurry.
That's a different argument in and of itself, if you ask me. But let's say they start 20-10, and he gets an extension.
He's getting an extension if they start that fast.
Because they get a hot start,
Yeah.
and then they don't make the playoffs again. Now we're sitting here in the same seat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just letting you know that's a real possibility.
Yes, it is. But this is an interesting question, and it's somewhat rhetorical, and I'd love to hear from you, the listener, on this. What's the expectation for next year? Because all I heard at the trade deadline was 2027. Who cares about 2026? So why is everybody all fired up that Torrey's back in 2026? Because everyone told me this year's not supposed to matter.
Yeah, I think
you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Okay.
You can't tell me that 2026 doesn't matter after they sold at the deadline.
I disagree with that.
And now the manager being back, oh, Chris, we don't stand a chance in 26. Which one is it? Which one is it?
Okay, let me ask you this, though. If you want to compete in 2027...
Which I do. I've been on record saying that I think this team can.
You're saying next year. But
Yes.
even as a fan who would want to compete in 2027, culture isn't built overnight. If I want to change the culture, I start it early to when I think I'm going to compete.
Yeah, you do.
If you're changing the culture for 2027, you're moving on now. That's a fact.
I agree. I agree that if you're...
So I understand why the people who fight for 2027 would say you still need to make a change now, because I'm still going to have the core four in place in 27 who I still need that culture changed and flipped and being managed under somebody new. That's the argument for making a change. So it's not their first year with a new manager in a year they want to compete.
I hear you. I do. And what I find so fascinating about this discussion today, and I think this is one of our more livelier discussions
Certainly.
we've had on the
Yeah.
program, because I do think there are two very reasonable camps. I don't think anybody who wants a managerial change is unreasonable. I think it's very reasonable to have watched what has occurred over the last 9 years and say, you know what? Perhaps it is time for a different voice. I'm just of the belief that I don't know how much would actually change. Now, I don't get the benefit of being proven right because they kept him. He's still going to be here, so it's still going to be some of the same stuff. Now, to me, this puts a whole heap of pressure on Mike Hazen to build a roster for next season. And I don't know how they're going to do it. They're going to have less money to work with. They've got a ton of holes to fill. They've got 3 main cogs of their pitching staff that aren't going to be there at the start of the season. They're probably going to lose Zach Gallen. There's a lot of work to be done here to get this team ready for 2026.
Yeah, and that's why I felt if you were going to move on from a manager, it felt as if maybe the end of 2025 was the perfect off-ramp for you to part ways with Torey.
And they didn't take that off-ramp. So we'll see. See, here's what I would say. You can be upset today. You can be upset that Torey's back in 2026. But if you believe in this core, the way that I hear from you in having these conversations, then you got to put all your trust in Mike Hazen to put together a roster. You got to put all your faith in this front office to find some gems to put on this team that can help them. Because let's face it, despite how bad Torey Lovullo was a manager, despite all the injuries that happened, they were alive the final week of the season. They were alive the final series of the year. So I don't think it's as dire as everybody is making it out to be. I don't think it's as dramatic as everybody is making it out to be. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, there were some interesting names that showed up at Suns training camp last week. Is there anything to read into with that? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
It's the Dan Patrick Show.
Ben DiNucci, NFL quarterback. I'm still going to introduce you as NFL quarterback. Being on the practice squad, what's the difference in how you're treated, lifestyle?
Honestly, nothing's different. I mean, there's 53 guys on the active roster and there's 16 on the practice squad. And the reality of the NFL is that guys are going to get hurt. There's a reason that these teams put a lot of effort into the practice squad, just like they do the active roster. It's really all the same. You're still traveling with the team. The pay cut's a little bit less, but at the end of the day, it's still great.
Live Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and the KDUS 1060 app.
Prepare for the Maximum Fun Tour. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, Saturday, October 25th. Special guests, The Wonder Years and Dinosaur Pile-Up. Tickets from $30. On sale now at livenation.com. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Part of the American First Credit Union Concert Series.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner & Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
At Nationwide Vision, we help you step into every moment clearly and confidently. From quality eyewear and comfortable contact lenses to comprehensive exams and professional fittings, we make finding your focus a more enjoyable experience than ever. Right now, buy one pair of glasses and get the second one free, so you can live bolder, look sharper, and see better. Schedule an appointment today to find your focus.
At Winco, we're working to save you money. Every aisle, every department, every day.
9 stores in the Phoenix area, including the new Santan Valley location.
This fall, choose Primavera Online, and you'll be choosing a school with flexibility, personalized support, and an award-winning curriculum that's over 20 years strong. Now enrolling grades K-12 at chooseprimavera.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. For the last decade, Penn State football has lived in a strange middle ground. Never bad, but never great. And in Happy Valley, that's the problem. Since James Franklin took over, the Nittany Lions have been consistently relevant, a fixture in the national conversation, but relevance isn't the same as dominance. The numbers tell a harsh truth. 1-15 against top 5 teams, 4-21 against top 10, 15-30 against ranked opponents, and 4-17 against Michigan Michigan, and Ohio State. At most schools, this type of consistency would be celebrated. Double-digit wins, national rankings, big bowl appearances. But Penn State isn't elsewhere. It's a program steeped in tradition, one that expects not just to be in the playoff conversation, but actually compete for a national title. The question now isn't whether Franklin can keep Penn State good. He's proven that. The question is whether he can make them great, or how much longer simply being good will be good enough. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Maaco's running a paint sale right now, starting at just $499. How about that? Now, if you've been thinking about maybe doing something with your car, don't pass up this opportunity, okay? There's dents, dings, chip paint. Maaco's seen it all. But for this price, take advantage of that, and you could give your ride a fresh look. Free estimate. They'll work with your budget. They'll get the job done fast. No pressure, no judgment, a fresh start, and you're going to have a national warranty to accompany it. And they're community-based, great people to work with, somebody you can trust to make your car look nice. A fresh ride. They've been doing it for over 50 years, and it's easier than ever for you to take advantage of this. Your car could use a little love. Now's the time. But don't wait. These paint sales will not last long. Visit Maaco, that's MAACO.com, and find the nearest location. Schedule that free estimate. And with the paint sale starting at just $499, your car is going to look awesome. Better get Maaco.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
Something Mark Cuban said, but at this point, he's pretty much the last one claiming that Ballmer is innocent, aside from Ballmer and the Clippers. Cuban is not convincing anybody of anything. Neither are the Clippers, and neither is Adam Silver. They're all just making it worse. Just like when Ballmer made it worse when he ran to ESPN and put on his Mickey Mouse falsetto voice to claim, they caught me.
1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Some lively debate there in that last segment. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us, sharing their thoughts. The Diamondbacks were being reported that Torlavella will return next season as the manager. It has brought out a lot of opinion. We've had some fun with that here today on the program.
Could you imagine if, by the way, we did all that, we had this great debate, that wrong report, they fired him right after the show.
The two reporters in question are very, very good at what they do. I'm very confident to go with their reporting, but yes, that would be something. It was something last week, Suns Media Day. Got a chance to listen to everybody meet with the media for the first time ahead of the season. Training camp getting underway for the Phoenix Suns, and there have been some interesting names at camp for the Phoenix Suns. Tom Thibodeau, seen at Suns camp. Steve Nash, Steve Clifford, Nate Oates, just some of the names that have popped up at Suns camp last week. And I'll tell you, this is a great thing for Jordan Ott and the Phoenix Suns. It's great to see the list of great, smart basketball minds that are lending their ear to this organization, that are lending their ear to Jordan Ott and the Phoenix Suns. Now, Steve Nash, obviously, probably the biggest name of the names that I just mentioned. The Suns have brought him back in a senior advisor role. He has a pre-existing relationship with Jordan Ott. Ott was on his coaching staff in Brooklyn, so I'm sure there is some willingness on Steve's part to help out somebody that he brought on to his coaching staff someday to get this job here, to be a head coach in the NBA. So I'm sure because it's Phoenix, because it's Jordan Ott, he wants to lend his hand to this organization, and that's great. That's fantastic for Jordan Ott. It's fantastic for the Suns. It's fantastic for fans to see Steve Nash back in an official role with the team. The name that gets me the most excited is Tom Thibodeau. If you remember when the Knicks fired Thibodeau, the Suns were directly in the middle of, Producer Evan, was it the second round or was it the final round of their coaching search?
I want to say they technically did 4 rounds, correct?
They were deep in the process.
Yeah, I think they were in between the second and third, or in the third round. They were deep in the process.
And I said, hey, you got to pause what you're doing here and at least make the phone call.
We said he's just automatically in. Whatever process you're in, he should just be in that stage.
You got to make the phone call.
Certainly.
And so to see him back, and I don't know if there's an official role that they can have for him on the coaching staff. But if I could find one, if I could create one, boy, isn't Tom Thibodeau, and we said this at the time, isn't Tom Thibodeau exactly the identity, the attitude, the culture that the Suns told us they wanted to create? Isn't exactly the way Tom Thibodeau led basketball teams play? Isn't that not exactly the way Matt Ishbia and Brian Gregory told us that they want the Suns to play? I mean, I keep going back to the quote from Brian Gregory in his first press conference when he was introduced as the general manager, when he said that he wanted to build a team that when fans left the arena or got done watching them on TV, that they were proud of the effort that they saw. And he used that word specifically. He didn't guarantee wins, and he said, we may not win, but you're going to be proud of the effort. You're going to know that those guys laid it all out there, played as hard as they could, gave it everything in order to win. Isn't that exactly what Tom Thibodeau did throughout his entire career? I mean, that team with the Knicks, those starters played basically every minute of every game. I mean, he basically didn't have a bench last season. He went to Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns. Those guys played a ton. And the Knicks fans embraced that. They loved those guys. The lunch pail mentality, showing up to work, giving it the all for 48 minutes every night. And so if it's me, if Tom Thibodeau wants a role on my coaching staff, if Tom Thibodeau wants a role in my organization, you find him a role in this organization. If you're Jordan Ott and he wants to be here, you find Tom Thibodeau a role on this coaching staff because there is immense wisdom in his basketball mind. He would make the Suns a better team. And I love all of the ex-NBA coaches that are there supporting Jordan Ott. Pick their brains, man. Get all the little pieces of info that you can because there's nothing that prepares you for being an NBA coach. But you know what? Asking people who have been there, have blazed the trail, have done it before, it's only going to help you in those decisions. So I love this from Jordan Ott. I love this from the Suns. This isn't too many cooks in the kitchen. I think this was perfect last week, seeing all these names be there to not only, it shows you how much clout and support Jordan Ott has. It shows you that Jordan Ott has a reputation, even though it's his first year as a head coach around the league, as somebody that's well respected. And you have all these people that are willing to help. I think this is a great thing for the Phoenix Suns organization.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think it only shows that you've made the right hire and you went through your process the correct way, because this is a guy who has people showing up to support him now and to help him out in his first head coaching job, who has made an impact on all of these NBA legends, more or less, who are willing to come back and give a piece of advice or sit in on a practice and understand what he's working with here in Phoenix. It shows that he's, one, willing to hear what other people have to say and take on the advice of others and see how people have had success across the league. And two, it shows that people are willing to show up for him because of what he's done for them. And those two things add up to, hey, I really think we made the right hire here.
Less than a month from the start of the NBA season. Less than a month.
Isn't that insane?
The Suns open up Wednesday, October 22nd against Sacramento. And I got to tell you, I am more excited for this year's team than I was last year's team. And I'll be honest with you, we're going to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of this show in October. It's funny, I'm not going to be here, and we haven't talked a lot about this. I'm gone for the next 2 weeks. So this is the last week that you have me for a little bit. We have not, I don't air a ton of my personal life on the air. I'm getting married next week. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. Evan's going to be holding down the fort here. Kayla's going to be filling in this seat. For those of you who used to listen to her and Bob in the Sports Zone, she's going to be filling in for me the next 2 weeks. Don't worry, we'll still be on YouTube. You'll still be able to hear us on the app, all that stuff. But I'm gone for the next 2 weeks. So the 1-year anniversary of the show will be celebrated in my absence. Producer Evan, you'll have to do something for me while I'm gone. But going into last year, we got this show started, and it kind of felt like we were jumping in. We jumped into the middle of the Cardinals season. We jumped in the middle of this Suns run, or I guess at the time we didn't realize it, but the end of this Suns chapter. So with there being a new GM, a new coach, a new direction, a new vision, it feels like I'm on the ground floor of this with all of you. So I just feel more excited to be a part of this journey, to watch this team, to cheer on this team with you all. And so I'm very much looking forward to this season compared to last season. And last season, because of the expectations being so high, it just became a tough watch when they weren't meeting those expectations. The expectations for this year are so low. I think they're going to exceed them. I really do. I think they win more games than they did last year. And there's so many young pieces to get excited about seeing. And there's excitement to see how Jordan Ott learns on the job. There's excitement to see if Brian Gregory's strategy and the way that he GM'd this offseason pays off. So many things to be excited about here for this team this upcoming season. And some interesting names already lending a hand here in the early stages of Jordan Ott's tenure. And I love it. More of it, please. If Tom Thibodeau wants a role on this team, find one. If Steve Nash, who's a senior advisor, wants to lend his ear to players and to coaches, listen. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Do double the amount of listening as you do speaking. Was taught that as a young age, and I believe it. Open those 2 ears and listen to the people who are willing to give you information. And the Suns right now have a plethora of people willing to offer their services, even on a volunteer basis, which is just great to see. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, is it time for the Cardinals to make a change? No, not that change. Next, the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Beerstein.
Most shocking play of the week, and there was ton. From the blocked kicks and the punt returns, but still the reality that Patrick Mahomes made the best defensive play of the weekend on a backwards pass he threw, that he then went and stole the ball from a defender. The Chiefs might have lost that game. Who knows how the momentum changes if Patrick Mahomes doesn't get that ball back and the Giants get that on the 5-yard line and score a touchdown.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Lost your health insurance? There are options to help you stay covered. Choices include Medicaid, individual and families, Medicare, and group plans. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona is a local nonprofit health insurance company that can help you understand your options. No matter who you choose, stay covered, Arizona. We've got your back. Learn more at azblue.com/options or call 1-877-475-8454. This message is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona.
The Hits, live at Celebrity Theater. Friday and Saturday, January 9th and 10th. With special guest Max Gomez. Tickets on sale now at celebritytheater.com. A trip through all their best. Don't miss Sticks Live. Produced by Danny Zalisco Presents.
To everyone counting down the days until pumpkin season, your wait is finally over.
The Salted Caramel Pumpkin Concrete Mixer and Pumpkin Spice Shake are back at Culver's for a limited time. And because nothing beats the real thing, every scoop of fresh frozen custard is made with farm-fresh dairy, and every bite is filled with real pumpkin puree. So come visit us at Culver's, or order ahead in the app or online, and fall in love with these pumpkin desserts all over again.
From Wisconsin with love. Welcome to Delicious. To everyone who believes in magic, let our team member Teppy tell you how we do it at Culver's.
We're not talking about card tricks or disappearing acts. Wow. This is the kind of magic that transforms real farm fresh dairy into world-class Wisconsin cheese. We're talking about Midwest magic. It's about handcrafting every meal with love, because at Culver's, we want every bite to be turned into a smile. Order ahead in the app or online and come taste the magic for yourself.
From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
Hey, Mr. C, it's me. Well, I just picked up the ring. I actually went to Hellsberg. Thanks for that recommendation. Kate's gonna love that hers is from the same jeweler you got Mrs. C's ring from. They were so helpful throughout the whole process. They even knew your family by name, and the ring looks great. Anyways, I just couldn't wait to let you guys know. Call me back and wish me luck.
Hellsberg, designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond is worthy of a Shane Company engagement ring. Our team travels the world to see diamonds in person and handpick each one. That type of dedication only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. No matter your budget, your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Back here in the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Thanks for hanging out with us today on the program. Is it time for the Arizona Cardinals to make a change? No, not that change. Not a change at offensive coordinator, but a change along their offensive line, because I'm starting to worry about the state of the Cardinals' running game. They're without James Conner. Of note, Trey Benson not out there at practice today, reportedly. Darius Robinson also not out there at practice. There will be no injury report today because of the Thursday night game. This is considered a bonus day for the Cardinals, so we won't get an injury report until later in the week. But no Trey Benson, no Darius Robinson. Could be just maintenance. Could be just giving those guys an extra day after playing on Thursday. Could be a whole host of reasons why those guys aren't practicing. So we won't react too strongly to that until it kind of develops throughout the course of the week, but certainly stuff to keep an eye on the rest of this week. But the running game has been a central focus because they had to get away from it on Thursday against Seattle, going up against a really good run defense, threw the ball a ton in that game. And Isaiah Adams is struggling at that right guard spot. He is struggling along this offensive line. And let's face it, this is the reason you brought Will Hernandez back in the offseason. That once he recovered from the, torn ACL that he had, he is your veteran option that can play both guard spots. He was a part of this offensive line last year. He knows the scheme. He's a veteran. He knows what you're going to ask him to do. And if Isaiah Adams falters or there's an injury to Evan Brown, you've got a tailor-made replacement who knows everything about this offense. Well, I think it's time to pull that ripcord and to put Will Hernandez back into this starting lineup because they're having trouble running the football, and they need to get back to being able to run the football in order to win. They're 2-2. They've lost 2 games in a row. They have to get back to basics. And what are the basics for the Arizona Cardinals? Run the ball. They have to run the football well for it to open up everything else that they want to do, to open up their entire game plan on both sides of the ball, the way they want to manage the game, the way they want the game script to go. All of it flows off of being able to successfully and efficiently run the football. And even in the games they won this season, they struggled to run the ball. It's been 4 games of a team's strength not looking anything like their strength. And the other reason why I think they need to make this change and get back to basics, do you think this team can undergo a midseason bit of plastic surgery to how they operate offensively? You think they can all of a sudden abandon the run, expand the playbook, and start throwing the football all over the place like they did on Thursday against Seattle? You think that's winning football for this Cardinals team? You think that's winning football for Kyler Murray? You think it's bad now that they don't have a wide receiver too. Imagine what happens if they needed to open up the passing game even more. They'd have trouble. They have to get back to basics. And I think one of the easiest ways to help them get back to basics is put back somebody in this offensive line. That was a key part of your running game last year. I mean, Isaiah Adams, he's missing plays. You've got Trey Benson, James Conner, DeMarcado getting stuffed in the backfield because he's missing blocks.
It's been really bad, and it's been an inefficient run game for a team that, let's face it, we knew was going to rely on this run game, and it's been non-existent.
I'm looking up now just to see where they're at running the football, because I don't know actually where they rank in their rushing attack. Sorry, this is a bad job out of me keeping the sound on my tablet.
Luckily, they do have the chance of a get-right game here next week.
Who they play next week?
They got home against Tennessee.
Be careful. What did I warn about this?
Have you heard any news?
I haven't. You would think they would do it today.
I think it would already happen.
Yes, I agree. So I think you're okay there. They're 25th in how often they run the football. They're 14th in yards per rush. They're 26th in rushes per game. They're 22nd in rush yards per game. They're 29th in rushing touchdowns per game. That's not good enough for this football team. It's just not. And I hate to just go nerdy and just throw numbers at you, but those numbers tell the story. Those numbers match what your eyeballs have been telling you. They cannot run the football right now, and it just throws everything off. Do you really want Kyler Murray throwing the balls as much as he did on Thursday? Is that really a recipe for success? You know the answer to that question. You know that you don't want Kyler Murray throwing the ball 40 times a game. They don't have the receivers for that. To many of you, they don't have the play caller for that. So they have to get back to basics. They have to get back to what they do well. And one of the ways that I think they can do that is putting in somebody who can upgrade their offensive line, because they need it. They need an offensive line upgrade. Kyler Murray threw the ball 41 times. Get this, producer Evan. He threw the ball 41 times on Thursday. He had 200 passing yards. Do we really want to open up our passing attack? Do we really want to? He had a QBR of 28 in a game he threw the ball 41 times. He had a quarterback rating of 73.2 in a game in which he threw the ball 41 times. They only ran the ball 17 times. Now, part of that's because Seattle's really good against the run. They were down multiple scores, so they decided to abandon it and try to throw their way back into the game. And they did, but it did lead to a loss. And so I just don't know how often they're going to be able to do that. So I would make the change. I would put Will Hernandez back in there because I want to turn over every stone that I think can get this running game going. And Trey Benson missing practice today certainly concerns me a lot. But I don't want to do the whole, what does Trey Benson's absence mean for the team until we know what's going on just yet. But you're already down James Conner. If you're down Trey Benson, your offensive line hasn't been good in run blocking. It's just a recipe for disaster. And yeah, you might be good enough, like we said on last Friday, you might be good enough to beat teams like Tennessee. You're not good enough to beat the Packers. You're not good enough to beat the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Jaguars. You're not good enough to beat those teams, the Rams. You're not good enough. You'll beat the teams you're supposed to beat. You said that about the New England Patriots earlier. I feel the same about the Arizona Cardinals right now. You'll beat the teams you're supposed to beat, but against those teams that you need to basically play perfect against,
it's going to be hard to win.
It's going to be hard to win, especially if you can't run the football. So they have to get back to basics. Will Hernandez in, Isaiah Adams out. That's the change they need to make if Will Hernandez is ready to go. Because I think they need to do everything in their power to get their running game going. Without it, they're nothing. They don't have an identity. They do. They just can't execute on it.
I mean,
they're not a good football team if they can't run the ball.
I was going to say, if they can't run the ball, it's hard to see how you're going to win any of the games you're supposed to. I mean, 2 weeks, they get the Colts, right? The Colts in Indianapolis?
Yes.
Do you think right now, sitting here, they have any chance in that game?
So after the Titans, they get Colts.
Yeah.
Packers by Cowboys.
They could go 0-3.
Certainly could. They certainly could go 0-3.
Because that Cowboys offense can put up points.
And so you're looking at a team that, let's give them the win against Tennessee this upcoming week. That's 3-5.
Yeah.
In the part of the schedule where we said you needed to be much better than 3-5.
Yeah. You needed to be 5-2 headed into the bye.
Yeah, that's season over kind of stuff.
Certainly season over. Some of those games at the back part of the schedule don't look as hard as they did 3 months ago.
Right. I don't fear the Texans the way that I did. I don't fear the Bengals the way that I did if they're not going to have Joe Burrow.
Certainly. But 3-5 coming out of the bye. I mean, coming again out of that Cowboys game.
After the Colts. And I don't want to do the show before the show, but I'm not going to be here for 2 weeks, so I kind of want to do it anyway. After the Titans, at Colts, home against the Packers, bye. At Cowboys, at Seahawks, home against the 49ers, home against the Jags, at the Bucks, home against the Rams. How many games do you feel good about the Cardinals winning in that stretch? Right now with what you've seen. How many games do you feel good outside of Tennessee? Do you feel good about the Cardinals winning?
2.
Which 2?
Tennessee.
No, I said
outside of Tennessee.
Exclude Tennessee. At Indy, home against the Packers. At Dallas. At Seattle, home against the 49ers, home against the Jags, at the Bucks, home against the Rams.
Yeah. Home against Jacksonville, they could win.
Jacksonville's a turnover machine right now.
Yes. But, I mean, that offense is bad.
I think it's 1, maybe 2.
Home against the Niners, they can win too.
Sure.
The Niners aren't that good.
Sure, they certainly almost beat them in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I worry about a couple more losses stacking up and the mental state of the team.
Yeah, you just can't have them quit.
Right. That's what you're a little worried about. If
you get to a point where it gets really bad and
you lose to Tennessee on Sunday, like it may be over in a hurry. It's getting late early.
If they lose to Tennessee on Sunday, season's over. I just want to be very clear.
Disappointed that I won't be able to be here if that happens.
If they lose to Tennessee on Sunday, the season
I may
is
call
over.
in. I may call in on Monday just to yell.
Yeah.
If they lose on Sunday. I don't think they will, but if they do.
Everybody would love that.
I mean, it's just a really tough stretch. That's why losing these 2 close games the way that they did is so brutal. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here. We got one more before we hand things off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. It's called The Leftovers. All the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. Get to them next. It's the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
James Out West, your desert destination for sports here in the Valley.
You've seen Shador. We've all seen him. He's, kind of everybody gravitates toward him.
He's got aura.
There we go. Thank you, as the young
kids
kids say. He's just there doing his job. He shows up early. He stays late. He's not posting it on social media to post it on social media to say, look at me. What you see is when he shows up to a neighborhood in which just got burned down, the apartment complex, and he sets up food trucks. I can't wait to see what happens for him, and I think that they have a good foundation for the future.
It's James Out West, every other Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Millions of fans agree. This Christmas tradition rocks. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert, presenting the Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. November 30th, 2 shows, 3 and 7:30 p.m. PHX Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, presented by 100.7 KSLX.
Mornings just got better because for a limited time, McDonald's has your favorites for less. Start your day with the $5 meal featuring the Sausage McMuffin with egg, made with freshly cracked eggs, savory hot sausage, and melty cheese, plus crispy golden hash browns and a smooth 100% Arabica small coffee, all for just $5. But hurry, this deal won't last forever. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Raise a beer to the best event of the year. Four Peaks Brewing Oktoberfest is back at Tempe Town Lake from Friday, October 10th through Sunday, October 12th. Named one of the best Oktoberfests in the country. Enjoy local and German beers, authentic food, live music, contests, carnival rides, and more. All ages welcome. Get your tickets today before it's too late. Visit fourpeaksoktoberfest.com. Don't miss Four Peaks Brewing Oktoberfest at Tempe Town Lake, produced by Tempe Sister Cities.
On your ride home from work, join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
If we owned our own football team called the Angry Roosters and we kept signing people to contracts and they weren't honoring their contracts and kept demanding raises, at what point do we throw our hands up and just say no to everybody? We signed you to a contract. Play out your contract, and that's it. You earn a better contract on your next one, we'll pay you for that.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Producer Evan, the listeners want to take over the show while I'm gone. Brian is campaigning for the YouTube chat to take over alongside you. I don't think we'll approve that.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a terrible idea. Listen, I love all of you. I think you think I'm bad at going to break on time? I don't trust any of you to go to break on time. None of you. You'll just keep talking while the commercials are playing. And team of listeners going to come in here and make the picks for the show? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Speaking of that, it's a big night for me. Now, I can't get us a win. I can't get the show a win. Josh picked up the win for Team Listener with a 3-point play and a 1-point play. So he's got 4 points. I, however, don't have any points with 2 plays to go. I need one of them to win the week against you and to grow my lead because you went over. Should we talk about that more?
I went over. I said this in the morning meeting. I was right, though. You look at the Colts game. I was right.
Yeah, well, let's...
A 3-point play.
You want to talk about where you weren't right?
I wasn't right with the other two. Listen, I'm not going to bat 1,000.
The 1-point play was brutal.
Yeah. I got a little confident in the Panthers after a 30-0 win. I'm sorry.
Think about the way that worked. 30-0, the Panthers beat the Falcons. Falcons then turn around, beat the Commanders. Panthers get blown out by the Patriots. Just a complete role reversal.
Yeah. I really think the Panthers, I'm done with the Panthers.
Oh, it's official. You're done with the Panthers.
Oh, no. Well, done having them on my picks. Still rooting for them. Still pulling hard for them.
Okay. You're just not picking them.
I am not picking them. And then my other one, my 2-point play, was the Ravens.
Oof, that was a tough one.
Done picking the Ravens.
You're done picking the Ravens. Well, you didn't pick the Ravens. Oh, you did pick the Ravens.
I did take the Ravens.
So you're done picking the Ravens. Are you done picking against the Chiefs, though?
No, I'll do that.
You'll take
the
another
rest of the year.
Yeah, you'll take another opportunity. 3-point play against
Certainly,
the Chiefs.
I will.
I mean, we already know your 3-point play.
I'm sorry.
Wild card round.
That team stinks. I'm going to say that.
I'm being trolled by Brian over on the YouTube side. Hope you see what he has said. I do understand why he's making the comment that I'm taking 2 weeks off right around the time when the baseball playoffs would have started.
Yep.
So he's making a comment that it's because of the Mets. But I did share. My wedding is next week and I'm getting married. So no, it has nothing to do with the Mets. Although that is a disappointing little side plot to all of this. None of our baseball teams are going to be in.
Well, that gets me into my leftovers.
Please go right ahead. Just go ahead.
The baseball playoffs have been set. We got some interesting series. I know you know what? You probably don't want to talk about that.
This is the perfect time for this drop.
Who cares?
I speak for everybody on the show. The Diamondbacks fans. I speak for myself.
Who cares?
Don't care.
The Dodgers play the Reds. 2-0 Dodgers.
Yeah, sweep incoming.
Yeah. The Cubs play the Padres. That's an interesting series.
Should be a fun one.
Red Sox, Yankees.
Classic.
Say enough. And the Tigers and the Guardians. And so get this. The Guardians and the Tigers will play 8 times in 14 days to get to the ALDS.
The way it broke down. Now, I'm looking at the bracket on ESPN. They have like the favorites according to ESPN bet for all the series. Detroit minus 165.
Really?
Now, I don't know if this is just for game 1. Stand by. I'm going to double click and see how this works.
I feel like that's for one game.
You think it's just for game 1?
That would make sense if that's the Scooble start, but not the series.
Correct. It is the Scooble start. So let me go back to what I was looking. I lost it. It's gone. I had the playoff bracket with the odds up for who was favored in game 1, and I was gonna. I got it back, everybody. Tigers favored in game 1. Yankees favored in game 1. Cubs favored. Dodgers. All the home teams outside of the Tigers favored in game 1. So the power of Tariq Skubal there on full display.
Makes sense. The Monday night games. I mean, we got to be quick, but you got 2 Monday night games today.
Of vast importance for me.
Yes. So you have, let's be clear on your picks. Give me a reminder.
I have Jets plus 2.5.
The Jets plus the points in Miami.
As my 1-point play. And my 2-point play is I have the Broncos covering.
Yeah, you get the Broncos minus 7.5 against the Bengals.
That's my 2-point.
You don't need to see Jake Browning get hot.
No, I really don't. I want to see Bo Nix get hot. That's really what I want to see. I see some people asking, show's not going anywhere while I'm gone. Evan will still be here behind the glass. Kayla's filling in for me for 2 weeks. She'll be hanging out here. You guys, the YouTube chat will still be fired up and ready to go. Producer Evan will be running that, so you can share all your comments and thoughts, and he'll get you involved in the program. So don't worry, nothing's really changing. I'll just be gone for a couple of weeks, and then I'll be back. And we actually have a fun top 5 list on Wednesday. We are going to make top 5 predictions of things that happen while I'm gone, like what I'm going to come back to in 2 weeks. So we'll have fun with that on Wednesday. But yeah, you got
it brings up a good question for me. Should we have like an order, like a top 5 things? Like we need one thing from the Cardinals where they're going to be at, one thing from the baseball playoffs.
It can just be predictions of what I'm going to come back to.
What ASU could be.
Yeah. Will I come back and ASU will still be undefeated in the Big 12? You'll have to see if that's my prediction when we get to Wednesday's show. That's going to do it for us here. Monday edition of the program in the books. Jim Rome is coming up next. We're back tomorrow. It's an Overreaction Tuesday. We got the NFL news dump. We'll get you ready for ASU. The Cardinals, we'll have an update from Cardinals side of things. All of it tomorrow. See ya.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLI